Hello painting class and welcome to the fall semester. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the materials that you have received in the mail from Dick Blick. I've also adjusted that list since we've gone online, and also the projects are different. The surfaces that we're using are going to be much smaller, and the projects are going to be quite simpler and more of them. I find that it's more effective this way in this format because when I do my usual class, I do constant one-on-one demo, and we spend a lot more time on quite a bit larger canvases. So I've tried to make things much more specific so that you'll get everything you deserve out of the class, as well as the feedback, the critique, the techniques, the color systems. All of those things will be covered in this class. Beginning painting is about representational work, so we will have sources and we will be working from observation, not direct still life or figurative, but imagery. So throughout the semester I'm going to have you set up a board and select an image, and I'll demonstrate some color mixing and some value mixing, how to care for your tools, which I also tried to reduce. Art supplies are just expensive no matter what you do, but I was able to get them down as much as I could. Once your materials arrive, we're going to grid them all. This is the format size that you'll have. Obviously it's a piece of paper here, but you're going to get 3 boards like this. As opposed to a regular canvas, we use boards because not everyone has an easel, and they're very expensive and they require a lot of space to use. We will be able to prop these up to see from a distance if they're accurate and that sort of thing, but they're strong and sturdy. So the great thing about that is you can use a pencil on them. When you get your boards, first thing we're going to do is grid them all 2 by 2. These boards are 10 by 14 inches. They're double the size of a 5 by 7 photograph, which are what we're going to be using, 3 5 by 7 photographs. So basically, if you have a T-square, it's a little bit easier, but if not, we're just using a ruler, and every 2 inches, we're putting a dot all the way along, every 2 inches, and then again this way. If you had a T-square, you could just connect them by hooking it on the edge. I did put one on there as an optional item. That way, with T-squares, you can slide them. So it's like this. This is a pretty big one. I had you guys get small ones, but basically you can hook it on things and slide it. You can hook it here and slide it along a hard edge or the edge of the board, and it makes your lines super, super accurate. If your lines are crooked, you're going to have to redo it. Since we have a 2-inch reference, you can do a 2-inch along and 2-inch down here too, and then just connect them. But really make sure that these are even. So you're going to have 2 by 2 squares throughout, 5 this way and 7 this way. So you're going to have altogether 10 and 14. To save you further funds and not have to do more boards for warm-ups, we're going to do our warm-ups right here on your board before you start each painting. You're going to work very smoothly without texture so that we can paint right over them, usually with white, and that way you don't have to buy extra boards. So for example, the first project, we're going to be using elements of this grid to fill in the warm-ups, and I'm going to teach you some techniques when we get to that. But if you grid them all now lightly in pencil, it's going to make everything a lot easier later, and it's pretty quick. So in this case, your board's going to look more like this, because we're going to have a gessoed board. And I kind of tried to show here how you can paint a thin layer of white right on top of whatever we do underneath as a warm-up. And it just creates a layer of texture that's really great for a painting. The more paint on these, the better. So we're going to do our warm-ups under here, but we're not going to put texture on there because that way it's harder to cover. But go ahead and grid all 3 boards 2 by 2, and then I will move on to the next step. Bye.